Hi everyone, in this video we're working on solving for the variable in an equation, and these are going to be one-step equations, which means that you only have to do one step to get the variable by itself. Okay, so for the first problem we have x plus 7 equals 11. So remember on these we're just trying to do the opposite operation so we can get the variable by itself. So here we have x plus 7 equals 11. We want to keep that x there, but we want to get rid of that positive 7. We want to move it to the other side of the equation. So remember the opposite of adding 7 would be negative 7 because we want to make a zero pair. So if we have positive 7 and negative 7, that's going to be 0, so those cancel. And then we're just left with x equals 4 because 11 minus 7 equals 4. All right, for number 2, we have 6 equals 3k. And so for this one, remember there's an invisible dot in between here that's saying that we have 3 times k, so that's multiplication. Remember the opposite of multiplying by 3 is dividing by 3. So if I divide by 3 on each side, then these 3's are going to cancel out. And over here I have 6 divided by 3, and that's going to equal 2. So I end up with k equals 2. So in all these problems, you're trying to isolate the variable, which means get it by itself. All right, so for number 3, we have 7 equals negative 3 plus y. And on this one, even though there's a positive over here, this is going to be a negative 3 because there's a negative in front. So the opposite of negative 3 would be positive 3, because if I have 3 negatives and 3 positives, that makes a zero pair. So then if I add 3 on this side as well, 7 plus 3 equals 10. So I end up with y equals 10. So every time we're just doing the opposite operation. All right, so for number 4, I have negative 2j equals 14. And remember here, it means we're multiplying. There's an invisible dot in the middle. So if this is negative 2 times j, the opposite is going to be dividing by negative 2. Because negative 2 divided by negative 2 is 1. So these are going to cancel out. And then if I do 14 divided by negative 2, that's going to equal negative 7. And so if we want to be able to check our work or see why these solutions are correct, if I go back to number 1, if I was to plug in my solution, so x equals 4, if I plug in 4 up here, 4 plus 7 equals 11, good. So the idea is that the two sides of the equation are going to be equal. On number 2, if I plug in 2 for k right here, that means I'm doing 3 times 2, and 3 times 2 is 6, so those two sides are equal. So you can always check your work and make sure if I plug my solution back in, am I going to get the same thing on each side of the equation?